backfiring. The Trump administration wants you to believe that since federal troops poured into Washington, D.C., it's safer, it's cleaner, and the economy of D.C. is booming. Now, it may be cleaner because Trump has members of the military picking up trash, as we talked about yesterday. Not exactly the mission the National Guard was trained for, but put that aside for a moment. Here is Donald Trump insisting that thanks to him, DC's economy is booming. The restaurants used to be closed, but now they're open. This is according to Trump.
A lot of good things are happening for our country, a lot of really good things. And the thing we're here today to talk about is crime, and specifically in DC. I am so proud of what these people, every one of them, what they've done in DC, because to literally stop crime on a button. I'd walk down that street right now. If I were, friends of mine are going out to dinner now. They haven't gone out to dinner in 4 years. They were petrified. Half the restaurants closed because nobody could go because they're afraid to go outside. Now those restaurants are open and new restaurants are opening up. It's like,
now this is not true. This is what we call a lie. I know it's so old fashioned. David, who ever heard of the term lie? Well, that's what it is. Trump is saying half of the restaurants used to be closed. People were too scared to go outside. Now that the city is occupied by federal forces, it's blowing up. It's booming. That is not the case. I was in DC a few weeks ago. Everything was open. The restaurants were full. As I told you, I went to Jaleo and sat next to Scott Bessent at the next table over. Everything was packed. It was hard to get reservations, in fact. We now are getting reports that reservations are down 30 or more %. There is, first of all, no evidence anywhere that half of the city's restaurants had shut down because of safety fears. Local chefs and owners say the problem we're having is now. We now have a problem because of Trump's crackdown. When you see an armed presence outside the restaurant, it doesn't exactly make for an inviting dining environment. I'm not looking to sit on a patio as DC finally starts to cool as we head into the fall. If there's going to be a platoon, I don't even know, excuse me, I don't know the term, a group of members of the military walking by. And the data backs this up. You could say, well, Trump has one opinion, you have another, the chefs have another. You look at Open Table numbers. Open Table's the app for making reservations for restaurants. Open Table numbers show that reservations dropped as much as 31% year over year on some days. So like comparing, August 26th this year to August 26th last year. This even included Restaurant Week, which is normally when things are the busiest. The city's Restaurant Association reports that in the first half of 2025, DC saw 2 restaurant closures per week, more than 50 in total. And that's a 17% drop in new openings compared to last year. So that's a DC problem more broadly. And then you've also got the rising costs as a result of Trump's tariffs. The phase out of the tipped wage system is making things more expensive. There are longtime establishments that are struggling for other reasons. But the idea that Trump has created a boom town before the military occupation or since, it's not backed up by any data whatsoever. Now, like with many of the economic moves that we've seen under this administration, this was optional. There was no real emergency that required Donald Trump to get involved in this way. And unfortunately, it's the opposite of the Midas touch. Everything Trump touches turns to coal, not to stone. And in the background of all of this, there's a little question that many of you have been writing to me about. Where are the Epstein files? I want to talk about that next.